edition of the award-winning podcast, The Square and the Round. Chris Kelly here. I'm the Square. There's BB Shea. He's the Round. Brand new year here.
Yeah, the awards, they just keep coming in.
They keep coming. How many will we win?
Year, yeah.
How many will we win in 2024?
There's no telling. Sky's the limit.
The only
Sky's
question
the limit.
is what kind of hardware are we going to be taking home in 2024? And as you look back, I wanted to lead with this.
Yeah.
Was there something from last time we were supposed to lead with?
I know I mentioned something about my New Year's resolutions.
Yes.
And that you didn't have any.
I have none.
Yeah.
Let's look back for a moment at 2023. If you could sum up 2023 in one sentence, what would it be? Or can you even do
Taylor
that?
Swift and Travis Kelce.
That's it.
That's it.
That's
like,
it.
I don't think there was a bigger story.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, even the deal in Israel and
That's
Palestine.
a bigger story.
I don't know.
It's a bigger story.
It's a worse story,
It's a
but
more important
I think the
story.
Travis Kelce Taylor Swift story was bigger though.
Well, in entertainment and sports, there's nothing
it's just
bigger
killer. Yeah,
than those
took
two.
over.
I jotted down what happened in 2023 that was newsworthy. I remember this.
Yeah.
Matthew Perry died.
Uh-huh.
Jimmy Buffett died. The Hamas war is awful.
Uh-huh.
This is political. They got rid of that Kevin McCarthy, the Speaker of the House. You didn't pay attention.
I didn't pay attention.
You didn't pay attention
Don't
to
even know
that.
who that is. No.
That was a big deal. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
That's really it.
And the championships were won by the Texas Rangers won the World Series. The
Correct.
Chiefs won the Super Bowl last year.
Who won did Kansas win the national championship for basketball?
No. It was San Diego State played against somebody and lost, but it wasn't Kansas.
Aren't you sure? I'm pretty sure it was Kansas.
Did Kansas win it? No, Kansas beat Carolina a year or two earlier. That was it for them, right? It was, wow, how soon we forget. It was like a bunch of little small teams. It was San Diego State and somebody in the finals, right? And not a big team. It was a small team that was there.
I have no clue.
You don't remember
terrible.
who won?
I usually remember this stuff. I have no clue. That's crazy.
The NCAA tournament final.
Yeah. Because, so the Denver Nuggets won the NBA championship.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
LSU won the College World Series.
Oh, you knew that.
I knew that.
Yeah. And football?
Football was Georgia. They destroyed
2 in a
TCU.
row. Right, yeah. Okay.
Which those games are, destroyed TCU.
Yeah.
Who won? That's wild.
I'm going to look it up.
Okay.
I have a machine that will look it up. But it was, it was I think it was San Diego State. UConn beat San Diego State.
That's right, UConn, because now they want to be a powerhouse, which I think they deserve.
Are a powerhouse.
They are.
UConn,
They're a blue blood now.
They are. They have won as many or more championships as Duke and Carolina
over the last 20 years. Yeah, absolutely.
Jim Calhoun won 3.
That's right.
And then I think this is the second one without him.
Yeah, because the one that some dude named Kevin. That was the year Shabazz Napier won it, and then
this team.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I had completely forgotten that.
Same.
They easily beat San Diego State.
Yeah.
And the Final Four was UConn, Miami of Florida, San Diego State, and Florida Atlantic. And San Diego State beat Florida Atlantic by 1.
It's amazing how if Carolina or Duke is in it, nobody cares.
I think if Carolina or Duke is in it, and if other Blue Bloods are in it, you remember.
Yeah, for
that
sure.
Right there.
Who cares?
You just forget that. People love an underdog being there, but then when it's a bunch of but then later you're like, when it wasn't as well. You want Kentucky, Texas, Carolina, Duke.
Well, you see that's the issue with people in sports. They don't know what they want. They claim that they want parity amongst the winners, but it's not the case.
Yeah.
It's never the case. Yeah, like you said, they want somebody who could potentially pull an upset to be there.
Yeah.
But it's like when the Warriors were dominating 5 or 6 years ago. Basketball was at an all-time high because we want to see them lose.
I agree. It's when the Yankees are great in baseball, or the Patriots were great in football.
Yeah.
But they were also hateable. If you win enough, you're hateable.
Uh-huh.
Like the first time the Patriots went to the Super Bowl, this was 2001 or 2. I mean, it was long ago. They were the underdog. I was pulling for them. They beat the Rams.
Yeah.
They're stunning. This new quarterback, Tom Brady, won it. Then a couple of years later, they win it again. Then by the time they get their third or fourth, it's like, aren't enough of these guys. And then they keep on winning
3 more of the next 15 years.
Them, Yeah. But that's when it's best because you've got an evil team that you despise, Yankees, Patriots, whoever it might be.
Yeah.
And then you've got upstarts and underdogs. But when you just get random teams like San Diego State
Yeah, like it's fun. Like,
at the moment,
the bracket busters.
Yeah.
But once you get to the Final Four, we know we want the usual suspects.
You want Kentucky, you want Kansas, you want Duke, you want Carolina.
That's right.
Those are the teams that should be in it. UCLA, Indiana, although I think they've fallen a bit.
Yeah.
Especially Indiana, they're not there anymore.
I feel like I need to be more informed. Who was that McCarthy guy? I feel bad that I don't know about
Kevin
that.
McCarthy?
Yeah, sure, whatever his
he
name
was
is.
He was the Speaker of the House of the Republicans in 2023. He barely got in because he's a little too moderate. He wasn't enough Trumpy.
Yeah.
He wasn't Trumpian enough. And 10 or so Republicans who were so to the right of him, he did something. He brokered a deal for the debt ceiling or something with Biden, and they didn't like it, and they got rid of him. And he could not get back in. And then it took him probably a week to find a new guy, and Mike Johnson is his name, and he's still the Speaker of the House. And he's far enough to the right now where those 10 or 12 really hardcore right Trump Republicans have some power.
Yeah.
Because he's got such a thin majority in the House of Representatives. That's how that goes. Mm-hmm. You're not informed enough.
You're just saying words. I have no idea what you're saying.
Don't know that
I'm just
stuff.
agreeing with you. Yeah, sure, absolutely.
You don't know that
I
stuff.
don't know that
You
stuff.
don't really know how government works.
I really don't at all. I didn't pay attention in civics.
Did they teach it? I
remember civics class, but I don't remember anything.
I don't know that they even teach my
I remember my teacher's name. That's about it.
Well, at least there's that. Yeah. I'm sure he or she would be very happy for it. Let's get something that you know about.
Sure.
Okay. Well, what are your resolutions? What do you have?
Yeah, so one of my resolutions is to read more. I want to watch less TV.
Yeah.
And I want to read more.
What did we just say? There's when you look at the traits of highly successful people, one of them is stay off screens. No more than just a couple hours of that includes television and social media every day. Yeah. And then you can read more, be outside more.
And I know I'm glad that got brought up because I've been having that eternal struggle with me recently is like I spend so much time watching TV, watching on my phone, watching nothing. Just nothing.
I know.
It's not informative. No. It's not important. It's stupid. I'm like, might as well I need to I feel like I've gotten dumb over the past
not
5 or 6 years.
No. How could it be?
I feel like I've gotten dumb over the past 5 or 6 years.
How could that face be dumb?
I used to feel like I was smart, like I knew something. Yeah. Like when I just got out of college, I'm like, I'm the smartest dude. Nobody could tell me anything.
Yeah.
And then over the past, I got into, and I just started, felt stupid.
I think most people, I don't want to say most people are dumb. I just think the average ordinary person doesn't care one thing. Like what I just said about Kevin McCarthy and the they don't know that because who pays attention to it?
Yeah.
The way the government works now is they're just in the way. It's like they're doing stuff. You got to get from day to day with your wife, your kids, and move on. And what they do, it's so ridiculous how they act now. Anyway, you're just like, okay, I've just turned my back on it. Be like, okay, let me get through it.
What are you really gonna do?
Yeah, exactly. You can vote.
You vote,
but voting, the local stuff's more important than the national stuff.
Yeah,
but what we'll be talking
agree.
about in 11 months is the national stuff.
Yeah.
Do you believe that this year, when clearly Trump will go against Biden again, whoever loses, there'll be blood in the streets, there'll be a real issue?
No.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
You think a calm transfer of power, even if Trump wins?
Let me tell you what needs to happen.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I think Trump needs to win.
You do?
I do think Trump needs to win. That way, that can be over with.
You think that? But don't you think the Bidens? Let's say Trump wins a really close, hotly contested election and goes back into power with all that baggage he brings with him. You don't think there'll be a lot of protests?
I think people are so unhappy with everything. I really don't think this election matters much. If it turns out to be Trump versus Biden, people are going to be upset. But I think I'm neutral on the whole subject. I don't have a problem with Trump. I don't dislike Trump.
You don't?
I really don't. I'm very neutral on the situation. But as somebody just looking on from the outside, let him do his next 4 years and then be done with it.
Well, I think the problem with Trump is, now I don't think this will happen, but I believe people who are anti-Trump think he's not going to do the next 4 years. He's going to get judges and people in his cabinet who will support him to become a dictator.
I don't think that's the thing.
I hope the Constitution doesn't allow that.
I see that, and I know people have that fear, like, oh, he's just going to turn it into 3 terms. That's not going to happen. Well, I don't think that will ever be allowed to happen.
But see, what you may not. Now, I saw this from Bill Maher a couple of years ago, and he said the reason this is so important is because when Trump was in office, he was putting judges in place at lower levels that when the election comes around now, this next time around, he'll put more people in place. And then in 4 years, when he doesn't want to leave, those people make the laws. They make the laws and pass the rules. And if you've got Congress on your side and the judges on your side and they're in your pocket, then you can maybe
Yeah.
be in power for longer than you're supposed to be, and then pass that power on to your son or your son-in-law.
I think Trump respects the process too much.
I don't think Trump respects the process at all.
I think that he respects the Constitution in America. I really do. I really don't think...
What has given you that indication?
I really don't think he's... What's this whole Make America Great Again?
Well, yes, but...
I really don't think he would tamper with anything like that.
Wait a minute,
I really don't.
But don't you think the fact that he says he lost illegitimately last time around and has really brainwashed a lot of people into thinking that indicates the exact opposite? Because he left... But he has maintained that he was cheated out of the 2020 election, which by all accounts is not true.
Sure.
Look at those poor women. A couple of weeks ago, Rudy Giuliani, or a week ago, and it's still probably going on, Rudy Giuliani, said that these Georgia workers had falsified election results, and they got death threats and stuff because of that.
Have you ever beaten somebody at something and then they just couldn't take it?
Probably.
That's exactly what's happening.
When we were kids.
I think he's just being a sore loser. He's just talking. He's got to remain in the conversation.
Well, he has.
If he would have said, you won, my bad, I'm sorry, I'll see you next time. Nobody would have thought about Donald Trump between now and then. Now, it's almost 4 years later. He's going to come do his next term, and then he's going to be out. That's why I think he just needed to let him in and then get him out.
Well, I've thought that at many turns. When he ran for president in 2016, I never thought he'd win. He did. And then I thought, because he talked all this crazy stuff in the campaign, and once he won, it was like, okay, now he'll be just normal and govern like a normal person. And he didn't. He went really hardcore all the way and has continued to do that. And now people... he's leading in the polls.
And he played the game, and it worked.
Well, sure did.
That's the crazy thing about it, is like he did something so different that we had never seen before, and it worked.
Yeah, but then he lost next time around.
True, I get that.
I think COVID cost him the second election.
It did. I think a lot of people wanted to see what was out there.
I do too.
Like people wanted to go, okay, we've had 4 years of this, let's see what happens.
Well, I think that when COVID came along... when COVID came along, he had just been impeached for the second time, won it, got no problem, and seemed to be having a great week. The economy was doing very well. And then COVID came, we shut down for months, and he, instead of embracing, like, let's everybody unite and put on masks and that kind of stuff, he said he didn't wear a mask, and he had crazy statements from the podium, and I believe people thought the crap has hit the fan here. We need somebody with some sense.
Yeah, sure. And I don't disagree with that. I think that he's definitely done some things that have, been very polarizing and made people feel a specific way.
Yeah.
But I think that if you want it to be over with, if you're really desperate for him to be out of there, let him do his next 4 years, and then we don't have to deal with it anymore.
And do you think he is going to win?
Probably.
I think so, too.
If Joe Biden... God forbid anything happens, doesn't make it to the election, and he runs against Donald Trump, I do think Trump will win. Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure about that. I feel like the economy is on the way up.
You're right.
I believe. And I think as people start to feel a little better about the economy, they will go to Biden, because I think they'll say to themselves, well, Biden is no prize. He's no picnic.
Yeah.
But at least he does have a lot of experience in politics, and we've seen what Trump is, and he's a real wild card.
True.
I think enough people will vote Biden in.
But don't
personally.
you agree with me on the fact that if Trump doesn't go in, it's never going to stop? He's never going to not run.
But eventually he'll die. Eventually.
Well, eventually. But if you want this whole
you think he'll run again in 4 more years after that?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, really?
Yes.
In 28?
I think he's going to do his 2 terms regardless.
Wow, I didn't see that coming. But but in 28, he's going to be in his mid-80s. You don't care.
But
he'll keep on going.
What do we got now?
He'll keep on going.
Where are we at
right.
now?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's mid-80s also.
Yeah.
Biden's mid-80s. Every time I look at Biden, I just feel
Isn't that wild?
I feel like Biden always is searching for the next word to say. He never quite knows.
It's always on the tip of his tongue.
It's like he has that look on his face like, I don't know exactly what I'm saying. Interesting.
Sorry to be so political, but
how's this? Okay, let's go entertainment. I'm going to give you movies that are anticipated, the most anticipated movies for 2024.
Word.
All right? They're all sequels or prequels. Tell me if you are interested in the movie.
Yeah.
Deadpool 3.
No.
Why not?
I like Deadpool. I saw the first one and the second one. I'm over it, though.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm over that character.
That's Ryan Reynolds.
I'm ready for Ryan Reynolds to do something different.
Yeah?
I like Ryan Reynolds. I really do, but I'm done with Deadpool.
You like the first one, though?
I thought it was great. For what it was when it came out, I think it was fantastic.
I've never seen it.
Really? I think, I know you're not into the whole superhero thing, are you?
I'm not, no.
I think it's still good to watch, on its own, standalone. So
I think Marvel and DC, I never like those movies. Mostly I find them very formulaic and boring.
I get it.
I mean, visually they're good, but I mean, some of them, yes, but 90% of them I find to be a long middle, and by the end, I'm like, I get this over with. Too long.
The first sequence of the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe, if you go top from bottom, it's a fantastic storyline to follow along to, but it's a lot of man hours.
Yeah, there's a ton to put into it.
Yeah.
All right, most anticipated movies for this year. Beetlejuice 2.
Absolutely not.
Why?
Never saw the first one, never cared to watch it.
Saw the first one in 1988, didn't like it.
Yeah.
Didn't care. Overrated is not even strong enough a term for that movie. Michael Keaton, okay. Yeah. Didn't find it funny. Thought it was grating. Wouldn't care to see it again. Don't want to see the second one.
I've just never been intrigued by it. Never really wanted to watch it. Not a huge Tim Burton fan.
Me neither.
Honestly. So that whole deal, he's kind of hit or miss for me.
Batman. Did you see the 1989 Batman with Keaton?
I never saw it, no.
Worthless.
Really?
Everybody loved it.
Yeah.
Listen, in 1989, I was 18 years old. Went to the theater with all my buddies to see it. We were like, it was the biggest, it was probably the most hyped up movie ever. I mean, they hyped that movie for months. They did.
Yeah.
It was huge. I'd never seen anything like it. Still haven't, I don't believe. Because movies were, and that movie is like, because Batman had not been done like that. Did it, and in the middle of it, I was like, I don't like this. And as we walked out, all my friends were like, yes. And what did I say?
Yeah.
25 years later, finally I told them, I didn't like Batman. Yeah. There. It's out there.
I find I do that a lot with movies. I'll walk out and go, that was good. And then I sit back and watch. I'm like,
it's not.
It really wasn't that good.
It's not good.
Yeah, that happens to me a lot.
I get swept up and I try to please people in the crowd, and it's not that good. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
No interest.
Worthless.
No interest.
I saw the first Ghostbusters when I was 12. I didn't like it. I was with all my friends, same guys for Batman.
Happened. Yeah.
Came out, loved it. It's not any good. It's not, and I don't think there've been any since there.
I feel like there's a time and place for things. Ghostbusters was a great idea in the 80s. I never even saw the movie.
You didn't see the first one?
Never saw it, but there's some things that just need to die, man.
Guess when the last time I saw Ghostbusters, the original was?
In the theaters?
No.
When?
Last night.
No, what? Really?
Yeah, it was up on one of my high up channels, and I caught it. Cozy. It's up on Cozy. Saw it, watched it. Still not any good. And the effects are terrible.
Why do you watch it if you know it's not good?
That's what I do.
Are you going to wait to catch something that you're going to like?
Spite watch, hate watch. Yeah. That's what I do. I watched it. But the familiar I watch.
I got you.
The highly successful people stay away from screens. I watch movies that are literally
sucks.
The movie is literally 40 years old. I don't like it. I still watch it. That's right. Venom 3.
No.
What's Venom? I don't know what that is.
So Venom is it's like an offshoot of Spider-Man. I love Tom Hardy, who plays Venom.
Yeah.
I wish he would do better movies, but that's a whole deal I'm not into.
Despicable Me 4.
No, not interested at all. No.
I can't interest you with any of these
movies.
No,
I like all these movies. There is going to be movies that come out, but they're probably not going to be on that list.
Despicable Me, I saw the first one with my kids, and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
That's the one with the little eye.
The little, the minions.
Like that. Doesn't do anything for me. Inside Out 2, that's a kids movie.
No.
That's about emotions. Saw the first one, I thought it was good.
Yeah, I never saw the first one. Never.
Lord of the Rings, The War of Rohirrim, an animated prequel to Lord of the Rings.
No.
Have you seen all the Lord of the Rings?
I saw the first 3.
Did you like it?
I didn't hate them. I want to watch them again.
Okay.
But.
Yes.
Yeah.
I went in to see the first Lord of the Rings. I think I told you this. Sat down. Yeah. A friend of mine told me you're not going to like this movie. I went in to see it because all the hype. 15 minutes into it, I turned around and left. I hate everything about the Lord of the Rings.
Good for you.
Awful. Gladiator 2.
Okay.
You're interested?
Sort of. A little bit. Is Ridley Scott directing it?
I don't know who's directing.
Okay, I liked the first one. I really loved that movie.
You did,
so I'm interested in this one.
I thought that was overrated.
Okay, I could see it.
I liked it. You see Braveheart?
I did see Braveheart. Love Braveheart.
Braveheart's fantastic.
Yes.
Everything I thought Gladiator was trying to sort of be Braveheart and wasn't good enough.
I could see that.
Braveheart I liked a lot better.
Yeah.
I liked Mel Gibson until he went crazy.
Sure.
He started yelling about Jewish people, and after that point, I was like,
really fell off.
Don't you hate it when a star lets you down?
Yeah, I really do.
When people you love and really follow, and all of a sudden they become nut jobs. It's just like
that's what Louis C.K. did for me.
Yeah, you mentioned
But I know
that
he
one
kind of
time.
made a comeback, or he is making a comeback. I love that dude so much.
I
but
thought
I
he was
hate
great.
that happened.
I thought he was great.
Yeah.
I still enjoy his old work.
Did you ever watch his show?
No, I
his
heard
show
it was
on
wonderful.
FX.
I heard it was
Oh
great.
my God, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
He jerked it in front of women.
Yeah.
And a lot of the folks that he did that to, I think I told you this, like some of the female comedians were like, that's just Louis.
Yeah.
He's just jerking it,
Yeah,
whatever.
that's what people say. It's like when you hear about it, you're like, oh, yeah, that's not surprising at all.
Yeah, at all.
That's
but
something
that's
that he
what
does.
he does,
Yeah.
exactly. And finally, it's the last movie people are looking forward to, a prequel, A Quiet Place, Day One. I'm
maybe.
interested. I'm very interested.
I saw the
in that.
original. I didn't see the second one.
Did you like the original?
Maybe.
Did you like the original?
Yeah, I did. I loved it.
I
thought
like.
it was very interesting.
It took me forever to see the original.
Yeah.
I finally did and loved
Very
it.
good.
Loved it. Yeah. The second one I liked a lot as well. I thought it was very good. John Krakowski, is that his name?
Krasinski.
Yeah. Yeah. In the first one, of course, a lot. In the second one, I was like, how are they going to do that? Spoiler. And he's in it just a little bit. And then this one, I'm assuming he's going to be in because it's a prequel, And I like him. And I like the whole Emily Blunt.
You
I
like
think the
Emily
whole
Blunt?
thing is really good. Yeah.
I want to lick her armpits, man. She is so fine to me.
That's one of the most disgusting things.
It's all right.
I don't care
That's
for
how
an
I
armpit.
feel
I
about
don't
Emily
care for
Blunt.
an armpit.
I don't mind it.
I'm not an armpit
I
person.
love Emily Blunt. She's so good looking.
Did you hear how Emily Blunt said that about the Chili's waitress that time?
But how what did she say about
She
her?
said she was on a she was on a British talk show 10 years ago, and they had been shooting a movie. I believe it was in Louisiana. And she said, a woman came up to me at Chili's. They were eating at Chili's, and the waitress said, "Are you Emily Blunt?" And Emily Blunt said, and by the way, she was like, gigantic. She was like a tub of lard. And that was back when you could say that stuff.
She gets away for that. For me.
Yeah,
That's totally
now,
fine. Yeah.
12 years later, it's like, how could you dare?
Everybody's
You
mad
know how
at her
people
about
get
it.
canceled. I heard Bill Burr, when Bill Burr just recently came around here, funny comedian.
Yeah, love Bill Burr.
And I hadn't seen him, but I heard him do a clip of like, is it weird that John Wayne is trending because of something he said 50 years ago? It's like, we got to cancel John Wayne. It's like, he's been dead.
Yeah.
How are you going to cancel John Wayne?
Rename the airport,
He's
I guess.
dead. Yeah,
in
what are you going
California
to
out
do?
there.
He's dead. How are you going to do that? Of course, they do that now. My son's dorm at East Carolina is called Legacy. And I'll mention that to the students who used to be there, they're like, I don't know that dorm. Well, it's one of the oldest dorms there. It's an absolute, it is a toilet. I don't know how he's living there.
Sure.
But I said, it's called Legacy. Well, 3 years ago, they changed the name because it was named after some guy that owned slaves. That's the thing. So they had to change it over. You know
what's funny to me about that? I love having the go back in time conversation with people because they'll always be like, if I went back in time, I would kill Hitler. I'm like, you would never be able to get near Hitler. I don't understand.
I kill Hitler as a baby.
No, listen, I mean, I would if I had the opportunity, but I don't understand why people think that they would just be able to get next to Hitler to kill him.
Well, you got to figure it out.
Yeah, well, I guess
you got to. If you go back to whenever he was born, 1910, and you say, or whenever before that, and you say, okay, Hitler's a month old. I got to go meet the Hitlers.
Yeah.
That would be a good show. Meet the Hitlers.
Meet the Hitlers.
And meet them, but you got to kill their baby.
Yeah.
That's pretty tough.
So I've heard this go around the internet a bit. If you went back to, let's say, the 1800s, right? Yes. And you had an iPhone that worked somehow.
Yeah.
Do you think you could take over the world?
How could I do that, though, if it works?
It works for you as if it's in the 21st century.
Really? So I've got all my apps.
Yeah.
I can show people photographs.
Everything works fine. Yeah, you got a camera. Boy. You have access to all the information that exists in current day, but you go back to the 1800s. Do you think you could take over or like gain some sort of power?
Gain advantage, run for office?
Somehow,
something?
yeah.
I don't think so. I
really?
don't know. I don't see how I would use that. I have to really study on that.
I guess the number one thing, or like maybe like the early 1900s, like I guess the number one thing to do was just make bets. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I always hear that. That's of course, that's the plot of Back to the Future too. Yeah. And you go back in time and you're able to bet on all because you know who's going to win the Super Bowl, so you make bets. But there's not much to bet on in the 1800s.
True, exactly. Yeah.
I would take the North over the South.
Yeah.
I'd lay the points. I'd take the North and lay the points. Don't you think?
Fair. No, I think, if people were betting on the Civil War.
I mean, it's going to be a fight.
You think people like overseas were betting on the Civil War?
It's going to be a fight.
That's funny.
But we're going to win it. But, the North's going to win it. That's what I'm going to say.
But, I mean, I guess you could, like, make yourself look like some sort of, I don't know, enigmatic being with this thing. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's my question. Would you show it off? Because I think, what I think you'd be thought of is like a witch and arrested and probably killed.
Yeah, probably.
Because you've got this thing that they don't understand. or would you get somebody that you trust and show it to them? And figure that out. But that's really but you'd have to say I have this from a distant future. But I don't think you can do. I think you have to keep it to yourself.
But do you think with like the way people act now, as opposed to the way that people act back then, you think like some sort of like you could get to that point based on just confidence and like just the way that you are?
Well, maybe, but
because you're just a completely like different type of person.
But I don't think I could even live in the 1800s because I'm so soft.
Yeah.
If you go back, I mean. If I introduced this phone to the 1800s, they'd be up on, they'd be taking pictures for the gram by the end of the day. They'd be using like sepia tones for the gram, and nothing would get done. The Civil War probably wouldn't even be fought because they'd be too busy. They'd be doing something like we do now. They'd be so lazy.
Yeah,
it'd be like they'd have Instacart delivering all their milk and potatoes.
And imagine how far society would advance now if that stuff happened in the 1800s.
I don't think we can advance much further. Here we are, the very first day of the year.
Say
I don't think we can.
And I think about that all the time.
I don't see how.
I'm like, how much better is it going to get?
I don't see any way.
What an amazing time to be alive.
I tell you the way I think that it can get. And see, I don't know. I mean, it is an amazing time to be alive, but of course, I always think that 30 years ago was better.
Yeah.
I used to say though, when I got an Atari, I said it'll never get better than this. When I got a VCR, do you know how much I told you I spent on my first VCR? Do you know how much I spent?
No.
How much it cost? You want to guess? Listen, here's what I did.
Okay.
This is 1985. I had a job. I was 14, 15 years old, 1986, something like that. And I had a job, and my parents bought me a television for my room for Christmas when I was about 14. And I said, okay, and I had a part-time job, and I said, I'm going to save and buy a VCR, which was fairly new technology.
Okay.
Now, how much do you think I spent on the VCR?
I feel like I'm going to highball it. I'm going to say $400.
$540. Wow. You lowballed it. $540.
That's how much they cost again now.
That was not the best.
Yeah.
I saved until I got $500, and I put all my money cash like in a can.
Hell yeah.
And when I got up to the one I wanted, and my friend's the one who has, I told you last week, the guy who had sex in 33 seconds.
At everybody's houses.
Yeah, he had sex at everybody's houses, and he had sex in 33 seconds with his girlfriend years later.
Yeah. His
parents owned a video store, and he was pretty knowledgeable. He'd bring in catalogs for me, and he's like the $300 were not good enough. The one that was $540, some of them you could spend like $900.
Yeah.
Forehead, great pause feature. Some had remotes, some didn't. All that stuff. But we got one that I liked for $540. His parents had it at their store. I bought it for $540. And my sister said, "How long do you think you'll be using this?" I said, "It'll never get better. How can it get better?
I'm going to last this forever." Yeah.
I said, "I'm going to be able to record every single show, watch them when I want to, and rent the movies. How will it ever get better?"
Yeah.
But today. And I know you can't really think that way, but today, they said in the future you'll be able to get any movie anytime you want right in your house, and now we have that.
That's what happened. Yeah,
the whole world's right in your pocket. Yeah. How can it get better? I do think, from what I hear when I watch the news on stuff like this, medical technology I think will get better.
Sure.
Where treating cancer and stuff like that will get better. I think artificial intelligence will help doctors.
Yeah,
it'll hurt in many ways, but it'll help. Like students now, of course, just go on the Chat GPT and say, "Write me a Civil War paper,"
Yeah, I have a part-time job, right? And I work with a whole bunch of younger kids. And one of them, we were leaving work the other night, and he goes, "Man, I got to go write a paper. It's due tomorrow. Got to go log into Chat GPT." And I'm like, "Really?
It's awful.
For real?
It's awful."
I was like, "Do you really use that?" He goes, "Yeah, use it all the time." I'm like, "Bro, there are easier ways to cheat. Like, come on, bro."
I can't imagine what's easier. What's easier?
Make all of your, this is for all the kids listening, if you go to a Word document and make all of your periods one size bigger, and size 13 font instead of 12, it'll lengthen your paper by about a page and a half.
Well, I understand. Is that true?
It's 100% true. I have done it before.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Well, I appreciate that, but what's easier? If I am told by a teacher,
I'm sorry, maybe not easier way to cheat. There are more. There are.
But at least you've written the paper.
There are better ways to cheat. Yeah, 100%. If you're worried about page length.
But Chat GPT, if the teacher says, the professor says, write a 10-page paper, a 10-page essay on the Civil War from the viewpoint of the Deep South.
Yeah.
You just type that into Chat GPT, and if you don't like it, type it again, and they'll come up with another one. It's unbelievable.
It is. It's
killing
and
us.
I hate the fact that kids are using that. Like,
oh, my God,
I was disappointed in the kid. I don't even know him, and I was disappointed in him. Like, come on, bro.
So I think that the technology will help the medical field, but there'll be nobody smart enough to be a doctor. They're also stupid because they're going to Chat GPT to get it done. I mean, I do, when people like Elon Musk, I think that's Elon Musk and several others have said, artificial intelligence is going to kill us, and then they produce it.
Yeah, exactly.
They make it. Let's stop making it. Get rid of it.
And I had this idea a few years ago. I'm like, what if we just stopped making stuff? Let's just, however it is right now, this is how it's going to be for the rest of eternity. Let's just stop producing stuff.
Well, honestly, if I were king of the world, I would get rid of ChatGPT and I would get rid of TikTok. In fact, I'd probably get rid of all social media. I like the convenience of the phone. I told you last week, I think social media is killing us.
Yeah.
And TikTok, I hate. And certainly ChatGPT. I mean, we never think for ourselves anymore. My son can't even, my daughter never even orders at a drive-through window. We were just talking about that the other day on the radio.
Yeah.
She won't even do it. It's like it's because they're so connected to the screen, they can't connect to human beings, you know? And as far as technology, I have no idea where it goes from here. I mean, at some point, am I just going to be able to think something up and you know it, you know?
That's 100% what's going to happen.
And what is my son going to say when he's old and crotchety like me? He'll say, we used to have to actually download an app. Now you kids have no idea.
I wonder about that too. Yeah, what are the kids now going to say?
What are they going to say
to their kids
in 40 years
when they're complaining about their technology?
When my son is my age and he's got a teenager, what is he going to say? It used to be you didn't just do this.
We used to have to wait 2 days to get a package in the mail.
That's right. We used to we didn't get it. We ordered from Amazon through an app, and we didn't get it for 12 hours.
You just have to sit there and slobber, and it comes to your doorstep.
It's unbelievable now how we do things. That's true. But here we are in 2024.
Yeah, anyway, Happy New Year.
A brand new year.
Yeah.
I hope it's a really, 2023 I don't think was that bad.
I don't think so was either.
That's all right.
No, I had a good year. This year's going to be better, though.
You think so?
I have a feeling.
You think the economy's going to get better?
It's going to be a great year for everybody.
Election year.
Yes.
You think it's going to be a great year?
2024 is going to be a fantastic year.
You think we'll be sitting here in January of 2025 talking about how 2024 was a good year?
With more awards.
More awards.
Yes.
Do you think you'll be wearing that sweater? Will you be lighter?
Yes.
Make your prediction.
Yes.
What are you going to weigh?
100%.
I want you to hold me to this.
Less.
I'm going to tell you this. I weighed this morning. I weighed 219.
Yeah.
All right. I want to be less than that next year.
219?
219.
Hey, you'll be less than that by March.
Well, I mean, maybe 210.
You have a good metabolism.
210 by this time next year. All right?
All right.
Let's do that.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I'm holding you to it.
I love this. I love that we've started the year on such a positive note.
Right, yeah.
You did very well. Movies, technology, sports, all of it's covered.
Yeah, enjoy it.
That's the Square in the Round. We're back again next week. Happy New Year.